Hello everyone! Welcome back. It is Sunday night. That means we play tabletop RPGs on the channel. I am your friendly neighborhood Prax. But I do not run this game. That is Pope's job. He gets to run all of this shenaniganry, and I'm gonna kick this over to him.
Build on the internets. Welcome to our second episode of Mass Effect: The Gathering Dark. They're on the ship. That's the good news. VI Singularity, possible bad news. But on the theme of news, let's have this amazing cast of storytellers introduce themselves, a little bit about their character, and where precisely on the vessel they are at the start of this. So let's first start off with our favorite multi-limbed pilot, Kryn.
Hey guys, this is Jesus, and I'm once again playing Kryn, Hanar adept pilot, who is enjoying his time getting more acquainted with the bridge, learning what the ins and out of this ship, and going through a couple of simulations against various targets and just flying through space, etc., just to make sure that if the feces hits the fan, I'm ready with all my limbs intact.
Someone who's more of the inverse on the intactness, at least their job aboard the vessel, is our gunner at Etzli. How you doing, PB? And where can we find Etzli aboard the ship?
Hi, I'm PB, and Etzli Leon right now is hanging out with a Buttercup down in Bars's a room because I got a special little treat for our friend, and I love her.
We all love Buttercup. There should be merch. Um, uh, Speaking of Buttercup's partner in crime, that would be Bars, played by Chris. How you doing? And where can we find our illustrious engineer?
Yes, hi, I am Chris Kinnears, aka the Painting Pirate. He, him, playing Bars. Also, he, him, our Krogan soldier, who is also in his room with Etzli and Buttercup, who, lest we remind everyone who was not maybe present or didn't remember, Buttercup is the Varen companion of Bars, who has a fluffy pink dog bed and is there having dealt with the medbay issue and retrieved the Solarian from their crate-based imprisonment, is just spending some time with his friend and his partner.
Speaking of crate-based imprisonment, that would lead to Tazik. Hey, how is our favorite Solarian? How are you, and where can we find said bringer of the VI Singularity?
I like how that's what Tazik's going to be carrying this whole time. Tazik is now finally starting to explore the ship and try to pick quarters, since skipped that step when first boarded. Probably with some distance from Bars, just for, clearly was not happy to see Tazik on board.
Happiness is a tertiary priority aboard this vessel, it seems. Someone who is all about the happiness would be our good doctor. Where is Dr. Sewell? How are you doing, Prax? And where can we find the good doc?
Hi everybody, I'm Prax. Prax Gorth as Miaphora, she, her. Welcome to the channel. I play Dr. Uthuru Sol, Ardrell, Doctor, also she, her, and she is more than likely going through the list of, like, inventory for medbay, but also, as we left off last week, putting a warning label and on the Rincall and be like, this one is okay for other people. This one is bars only.
Okay, so
Just doing and going through that in medbay and making sure that it's ready, it's flight ready.
I'm just picturing that the doc earlier has raided the bar as well as the kitchen for the alcohols, and it is in the med bay, and there is just this lovely, like, murderer's row of bottles in the med bay now, of all sorts of exotic, interesting, flammable beverages for the crew to enjoy in any number of ways. I am fully expecting at least one thing of arson from y'all before the end of the season. But I am intrigued by Tazik and trying to find a place for Tazik aboard the vessel. Where are you hunting? I know you're hunting away from bars, which means you're staying away from engineering. But where are you going?
It does seem like an unfortunate combination of factors there. I would have preferred to be close to engineering, but has some small degree of self-preservation, and decided that's probably not the best idea. So a little further, but probably still not the complete opposite side of the ship. So, I mean, proximity to like the elevator or something, maybe on a different level, if that's an option, where it's still a relatively short trip.
If you're looking for short trips, you have a few options. There is quarters near the cargo bay. They're not particularly nice. They're very, very Spartan. This looks like it's sort of that it was originally the ship's brig, but they converted it into a quarters in the remodel. Then if you go up 2 levels, so just past engineering, you're on the recreation deck, and there is a room on the opposite side of the rec room. Now, this one is sort of irregularly shaped, sort of like that L shape in Tetris. And so it's got a good bit of length, but not necessarily a great deal of width. And it's nice. Definitely has a bed that would more than allow Tezik to have like vast tracts of land for sleeping. But
I'm like thinking in my mind, like Tazik's a Solarian, it isn't quite that big, but noted. Probably would prioritize having a clear space to do some engineer and armor work and other technical stuff. Obviously, like a console selection, and then both Carl and Argos need to fit. So Argos is probably the bigger challenge.
Argos is a challenge. That leaves a room that Ed Sleep found previous, which was probably the former captain's quarters. Very, very nice. It has a full-on aquarium, large, filled with nothing but seawater. And it is large enough to, should you convert the office space to a technical bay, you could put Argos in there, as well as have some room to work around him, as well as having a bed that, for Tazik's size, would go from beyond vast tracts of land to obscenely opulent. And the nicest bathroom aboard this vessel.
Okay. I think Tazik would have found this room and be looking at it and turn to Argos and go, "What do you think? Will this work for you? Or do you want your own room? I wasn't really sure if you wanted your own space. I know we're still working on the whole programming thing, but I just want to double check before we do any conversions because I want you to be happy."
He just moves the desk chair out of the office and just sort of almost cat-like just puts self dead center in the room. And the closest that an Elcor can sphinx it just settles there.
Perfect. So Tazik's like, "Great, this will be our space. It's fine. I'll get converting everything." And then like reaches into a pouch and pulls out, walks over to a little aquarium and drops in like 2 little mechanical goldfish. And is like, "This is now our space."
I have questions about the goldfish.
Okay.
Do the goldfish have their own VI?
Ooh, I think Tazik would have put in just enough that they would behave like goldfish, but they would be like in the scale of like Argos to Carl to the most basic VI possible. It would be like closer to Carl than Argos.
Okay, so they have actual VI in them. Good to know. We're going to put a pin in that.
Sort of like made to look like the cutest little goldfish.
Pin. And with that pin, let's go to the joyous gathering down by engineering as the Buttercup appreciation party begins.
I'm definitely like sitting on the floor, half laying on the floor because Buttercup is just very large and I am but just a mere human. And I am doing, the dog thing where you're like, you know, and it's like, "Oh, did you like that pie jack jerky? Oh, yes, you did. Yes, you did."
Yeah, Buttercup is thrilled by this, having the greatest time, getting all the attention. They did indeed love the pie jack jerky. It's Buttercup's favorite treat, as Etsley well knows. And Bars, for his part, is just sitting on his bed watching this with a big old toothy grin. It's not too many people are willing to engage with Buttercup in this way, so he's just enjoying watching this happen.
I'm just like, "Oh, you're such a good man. Yes, you are. Oh, you're just the best. I'm so happy if I have to be on this stupid ship, it's with you. And I guess Bars too, but you're the real star."
It's fine. I know exactly how that works out. She's the star of the show. I get it.
And as I'm like, "How did you even get roped into this anyways?"
It's a good question, Pope. How did I get roped into this?
Let's play a few questions here. Before this shindig, on a scale of 1 to prison, in how much trouble was Bars?
Not so much in trouble. He works as a merc / bounty hunter, so we could say the last bounty he was out chasing depleted a great many of his supplies. And so he is now looking for a quick and lucrative payout.
Okay. And was Bars particularly a singular mercenary, or was he part of a conglomerate?
He
Or
works by himself, but has quite a lot of contacts. You know, he tends to work alone based on the fact that things around bars tend to explode, and he has a little bit of a reputation as not being somebody to work too closely with. Also, not somebody to hire if you feel really strongly about the alive part of Dead or Alive as far as your bounty goes.
Okay. Well, in that case, since we've already established a connection to Victor Grace, you would have, just as the creds were getting low, almost like this was on purpose, get a message from Victor saying, incredibly lucrative opportunity, shadowy governmental figures, extended contract, but they're offering this up front. And just the number of zeros was impressive.
I got roped into this by Vic. I think you know Vic, right? Victor Grace. You two have worked together as well. He
Yeah.
reached out to me. I got to admit, when I first got the message from him, I almost ignored it. It sounded, the big lucrative opportunity and all those zeros. I was pretty sure he was about to ask me to use my account to transfer credits to some disposed prince or something or other, but turned out to be a legit offer. So, and well, to be honest, I need the money.
Don't we all?
Reminds me, I need to follow up with you on the mod that I was testing out for you. It's it worked okay until they got a little bent. Gun barrels tend not to work too well at a 90-degree angle.
Do I want to know how that would happen?
I hit somebody with it.
Of course. All right. So long as it wasn't my mod that did it,
No,
and I'll try to like wiggle out from under Buttercup, and eventually have to just distract her with a piece of jerky. I'll like throw across the room, and I'll go up and I'll start like inspecting the weapon and seeing how the mod held up.
What about you? You here through Vic as well, or you got roped in through some other means?
No. It was Vic.
Well,
No matter where you go, Alliance will still find you, even if it's an ex-Alliance. I thought he was gonna rope me back in to do some maintenance, but looks like it was just giving me a shit ton of money and a suicide mission.
it wouldn't be the first one of those. Thus far, they ain't been too strong on the suicide part. They've pulled through. I ain't sure about the rest of the crew, but between the three of us, at least we'll probably pull through okay.
Yeah, on to the next suicide mission.
Yep. Eventually, one of them will turn out to be true, but hey, it'll be fun along the way, right?
Exactly.
And as we have this joyous, raucous laughter, Kryn, you see this small little flashing light on the dash. You're muted, friend.
I was silently in meditation. So this one has not yet gone to that part of the panel, but this one will look into it. You said it was a flashing light.
Yep. Just teeny little flashing green and red light.
Kryn pokes it.
Mission briefings. And it has a listing of 3. They all have this strange series of symbols next to them. One looks like one human femur. Another one looks like 2 human femurs crossed. And then another one looks like 2 human femurs crossed with a skull over it.
That is rather macabre. Beep. Human Esley.
And you'll hear like the tail end of some laughter, and I'm like, yeah, Hanar Kryn.
Yeah, this one has a question. I've just received the mission brief. What does it mean in your human culture when there's 2 skulls? Sorry, 2 bones crossed and a skull on top?
Like the poison symbol.
Similar.
Do you guys use that one?
Not well. We don't have human skulls, so no.
Missing out. Yeah. Typically, that means huge danger. Like bad. It means bad. Typically.
Bad.
Yeah.
Well, the mission. Okay. 1 second. Which button was it? Beep. All hails. Hello. This one has received the mission brief. And this one is going to send them to you all so you can review on your own time. Apparently it has to do with human femurs as well as a skull. I'm not sure of what that means in human terms. Click, and Kryn presses a button and sends it to everybody.
So, you all get the mission briefings now that they've been patched through to your Omni tools. The briefs are surprisingly terse and brief. It looks like they were written by a Turian. The one that is the least bony in this case, to paraphrase our Hanar friend, would be titled Theft of Alanis Risk Control Autocoil Prototypes. Starting point, Noveria Pack System Horsehead Nebula Cluster. There was a surprising and rather explosive exfiltration of these prototypes, which normally would be just corporate concern. But considering that these were prototypes that could revolutionize subsonic weaponry for all of Citadel space, it's kind of important to know who has them, what they intend to use them for. The complications that are foreseen is getting through all the corporate red tape and then finding the exfiltration team, and then through them or through evidence left at scene, whoever was the buyer, and then retrieval. So again, they expect that there will be violence, but violence in proportion to y'all's skill set. The next one is listed as missing research team working on new gamma ray telescope based on Therum, Gnosis system, Artemis Tau cluster. A multi-governmental group of scientists working on a telescope that would allow for far better optical as well as scanning purposes for research on nearby galaxies as well as galactic travel. The team and all of their research, as well as multiple alpha prototypes, have all been absconded with. It is incredibly unsettling in that there was no signs of violence. Absolutely none. The place was absolutely clean, no signs of even basic forensics on where to go. This has extensive difficulty based on lack of direction. And if there was a team that was capable of this, or even theorized an individual or a cabal, this could be exceedingly dangerous. But also, those scientists have been working on this project for almost a decade. And its importance to the Council of Races cannot be understated. So it is a priority. Then the level of difficulty to the title is kind of strange, especially to a number of you who have worked in mercenary communities. And that is investigate a body enhancement cult into, say, Phoenix System Argus Rho cluster. Now, there have been body enhancement cults as long as genetic modification and cybernetics have existed, regardless of species. And for this to have this level of designation strikes most of you as quite odd. That would just portend that they have gotten their hands on some military or bleeding edge hardware. In the brief, this group is prolific, but the thing that probably catches Etzli, your eye, is that some of the tech specs for some of the mods on known heavies within the cult, it's modified tech of your prototypes. Someone has gotten a hold of your stuff, has modified it for cybernetic use. Which, considering the lethality of some of your mods, starts to make this make a little bit more sense. Thinking of an individual that has the capabilities of a modified sniper system built into an arm, plus enhanced genetic or cybernetic optics, people could easily die. Like, you could sweep a room and they could walk away and no one would be the wiser.
So it seems this one has observed the notes as everyone else has, and we have 3 possible missions of general levels of lethality. Although, Pope, quick question. So I'm assuming that depending on the difficulty, the higher the payday, right?
You would think that. But when you start, because you're Hanar, you read the fine print.
Of course I do.
And the most quote unquote dangerous does not have the highest payday. It does give you and your team full salvage rights, though. The one with the highest pay is for the missing scientists.
And the first one for the saving the sonic weaponry, what planet was that again?
Bavaria.
Bavaria.
Everyone would know this as a planet that is outside council legalities and entanglements. It is a corporately held planet for corporate interests and corporate testing, which means ethics can go out the window. It is a place that has had trouble in recent history. It was known that one of the facilities on Novaria just a few years ago had an explosive problem. So them having a secondary issue, and with Alanis Risk Control, which is the primary security firm on Novaria, this is one hell of a corporate black eye.
So has everyone reviewed and have any notes about any of these particular possible missions we can take?
Yeah, we're taking a look. Give me just a moment.
Of course.
And before returning back to the com, we'll turn to Edsley.
So what are you thinking?
Edsley is very aggressively tapping her fingers against the ground and very, I would say, aggressively petting Buttercup, but that's like kind of the petting you need for Buttercup anyways. So it's just like a big big petting of Buttercup.
Buttercup's loving it. Like, yeah. Little back leg kick is going.
Absolutely. And she definitely perturbed with something, but she'll say, well, we need a team building exercise before we get into anything dangerous. We need to see how everybody works.
You thinking the first one then?
I think so. Missing research team. That one seems like it's going to be a bit of trouble. Be nice to see what Novaria has first.
Yep. And let's be honest, rescue retrieval ain't exactly my skill set. And if we ain't got much of a lead to go on, I don't know how competent the rest of them are yet. So I'm with you. Ease into it. Take the first one. You doing okay?
Yeah. I'm just I need to do a little bit more investigation on something. But I will take your weapon and see what I could do with it before we land.
Appreciate
And,
it.
I pick it up and it's a very distinct 90-degree angle on the barrel.
Yeah, this full bent. Yeah, very, very clear that no, that was bludgeoned against something that it should not have been bludgeoned against. We'll then get back onto the comm. But...
Oh. Edsley and I reckon we try out with the first one. Ease into things a little bit.
Muted, friend.
Blah, blah. Anyone else?
Yes, I'm interested to see what Tazik has to say about these briefings.
You will start getting stream of consciousness from Tazik's like comm. Just being like, oh, this is so interesting. I don't know how I feel about this. Do we believe in researchers? Because I don't know that we need to worry about something that has to deal with telescopes in space. But like it's just like going like very much a stream of conscious thought clearly as reading through and did not just left their comm line open. So this is like popping up in between everybody else's messages before finally like after some deeper review, I do feel like Sonic Requiem could be interesting for us. And since explosions were mentioned, I feel like there's a lot we could pick up here potentially in being able to upgrade this ship and our gear. So my recommendation would be the first mission.
Doc, what you think?
The doctor has been taking all the alcohol that was in the office back, and now it has new labels on them in like nice little pretty decanters, and they're all like individually labeled with for species, and like putting them in like racks, and then the one that just says 4 bars only. I'm serious. I won't help you if you drink this. This is your own damn fault. This is your final warning from your medic. On the bottle and put on the thing. And she just kind of clicks it on and goes, I defer to whoever makes what you choose to do. I'm here to keep you alive and whole.
Fantastic. It seems we have all chosen. I also confirm that perhaps as the humans call it, a shakedown run with this particular crew might be the best ideal. This one agrees. So shall we head to Noveria?
The silence speaks volumes.
Very well.
Yep.
Now,
Yep.
just for curiosity's sake, for those of you familiar with the franchise, have any of you been to Noveria before?
I'm going to say me, Kryn personally, no.
Okay.
I think Uthuro has dealt with certain corporations on Noveria and read through like certain medical like results that came out, like read through the research results and announcements that came out through there, and may have dealt with a couple people, but probably did not go to Noveria specifically. A,
Okay.
It's a giant ice planet, and B, it's a giant humid as fuck ice planet. I don't need to be there.
Fair. Out of personal curiosity, exogeny or binary helix?
Oh. Probably binary helix. Because she would judge exogeny's failures to control their, Because right now in Mass Effect 2, with Mass Effect 2 being over, exogeny has the higher number of, failed experiments due to safety regulations, like ignoring them.
Noted.
They have a large problem with a large number of their colonies going boom from experimental regulations failure. So she wouldn't trust exogeny.
Okay. So that's the only person who's had any dealings with Noveria.
Etley has been to Noveria.
Oh. Please go on.
A while ago, a few years back, she came to see what was up and coming on weapon mods. Kind of like how you go to like one of those like showcase conventions in our day and age. I think Etley would have gone to have one of those moments on Noveria. Whether they were showcasing it or not, it doesn't really matter. but people like to talk, and Etsy loves to listen.
Okay. I can think of a few ports. Again, the Lost Risk Control is the big one, but there are a number of like Armax is another one that comes to mind that does have a presence on Novaria. They're more about the armor, but they do have a lot of shotguns. And Rosenkov is another one. So, and they do sniper rifles. Very limited run and usually custom to the orderer. So, actually, since you've been there, you would know something. A couple of things about Novaria. First, they really don't like people showing up unannounced. That's one. Two, getting any weapons on through, let alone like anything particularly hinky, is also very difficult. And unless you have creds to spend, they will tie you up in red tape and keep you at like the docking bay if they don't like you or if you don't have somebody on the inside. So these are things that you know. Do with that information what you will.
If no one else knows anything about Novaria or has been, I will tap over to Kryn, or like on the open line to all of us. I'll just be like, it's like, hold your horses there, Kryn.
Yes.
Sorry, Hanar Kryn. What exactly do you plan on doing when you get to Novaria?
I assume Doc speak with individuals that have information and then continue from there.
That's cute. Yeah, Novaria doesn't work that way.
How so?
They don't like people just showing up. They're pretty
should we
insular group.
Should we send them a message before we go? Hello, we would like to investigate a certain matter.
Ooh, I think they'll hate that even more than showing up unannounced. Honestly, no. You kind of have to have someone on the inside, know someone from Novaria, or have someone of importance. Say you're coming.
Then I can comfortably say I know no one. Do you?
We should all know someone, considering how we ended up here. They're not nobodies paying us.
Yeah, to that note, storyteller, is there anything in the briefing about a contact for this, or the person who has hired us, and that any information as to a point of contact on Novaria for us, or anything along those lines?
There is possible contacts, but it is listed as once you are in.
I'll
love that.
I feel like Kha'Zix would not have been to Novaria, but considering the work that she's done with armor, might have like known some of the people working specifically on that at one of the corporate interests there, and had been like consulted from their own. So like maybe not know people, not been there, but could potentially have a way in. I don't know. You tell me if this will be allowed.
You have a possibility of two ways in. Definitely, I can see Armax actually consulting with you about the VI tracking of biomonitoring as well as charges, ammo, etc., designs of HUDs for their armor, and have brought you on to a number of projects, probably the Colossus update that happened like 3 years ago would make sense. The other thing is they're, by the nature of just Solarians, fun fact, folks, the Solarians do some somewhat sideways things with their species. And Tazik, you are of a gender minority that holds more control because they're a minority. So if you are interested, I am perfectly fine with you having had any number of suitors from the Solarian population of Novaria that you may have left on red, as the kids say.
We had an interaction after I consulted, and suddenly they were hitting me up. Got it. Okay. So Tazik would be like, I might have done some consultation work for maybe one of these, just, like on the side, all Tazik does is armor stuff, so I don't know what counts as on the side. Is self-employed, I guess. But it would be like, I might know someone. I don't know how likely they are to answer if I asked, but that might be an option. Is like very clearly not sure what to say here, but is acknowledging it has some contacts on Novaria that could be our avenue in. Just like, but maybe we should like highlight Bars. I don't know if Bars said this over the thing, but it's like they did say we could contact them if we needed anything. So maybe we should see if they can get us a ticket in first, because I'm not 100% confident. I have talked to some people. I've done some work. We definitely have some connections, but whether they'll sneak us in, I can't guarantee that.
I should note that we were hired to do a mission. And if we, during the first difficulty, go to our employers for aid, that may cut into our potential salaries for this mission. I would suggest, this one would suggest that perhaps we should try your particular contact first, find if you have an inn, and then perhaps if that does not work out, then we can try our employers.
Just to ensure we're all talking about the same plan here. Our plan A, the first thing we're gonna try, is to have Tazik talk our way in.
She enjoys talking, so I cannot see how it could fail.
I love this. I love this so
This
much.
is gonna go to shit immediately. This is gonna be funny.
Tazik can't even say anything to either of those responses.
Clicks back onto the com.
Sounds like it's the best plan we got. May as well get going.
Storyteller, what are we doing now?
Well, it seems as though the party has left the ball in your court, Tazik.
Okay.
I will remind all of you from our session 0 that you all have one I know a guy.
Oh, right.
So
Right.
if this goes sideways, you still have outs.
Okay. Great. So Tazik could be like, okay, we'll try this, and it's like pulls out OmniTool pulls it up and is like scrolling through a very, very like long history of messages and being like, okay, and it's skipping past all of the unread Like, you have 345 messages. You have 261. Like, just scrolling right past those down to like the last communication from one of the times that she consulted on some armor related items and was like, let's start here.
Just 100
Okay.
versions, just 100 versions of how you do it.
Just like bypasses all of those.
But it's Solarian how you doing, so there's more syllables involved.
They're not as simple a message as it might be in the human vernacular.
No. There's positioning. There's finesse. But
That's gonna be option 2 for Tazik. Is like, I don't want to start like open this door, so let me try my armor buddies first.
okay. So you reach out to your Armax contact. Your Armax contact is a Dr. Ventrellian Song, he is a Volus armor designer and executive.
Okay.
He was your primary point of contact with Armax.
We're not gonna have, so we just know that something happened on Novaria. We don't know particularly which
You know that's Alanis Risk Control that got their stuff nicked.
Okay. So I don't think I would be upfront about it. I would just be like, hey, it's gonna do the equivalent of, hey, I happen to be swinging by Valeria and we've worked together a few times. It'd be so great to like meet in person for once. But like the Tazik version of it, which is, hey, I'm oddly going to be swinging by Valeria. And last time we talked about this like long list of mods and some of the things that consulted on. Really like to see where you're at in the process and like a little bit more like, if I'm going to do this, I want to know what's happening with all the stuff I consulted on.
Okay. Also, given your party's makeup and your capabilities with the skill persuasion, I will give you an option. You can roll persuasion, or I can roll the happy sad die.
Oh crap. Out of character, party, which is our preference. Both of them have potentially terrible outcomes for us.
Listen,
If I recall correctly, our best perception mod, or our best persuasion mod is 0.
No. I have +4.
Okay, well, I have -1.
Mm-hmm. So in
Okay,
that
I'm gonna
case,
say, yeah.
I think also because I'm a huge fan of chaos, I say happy sad die.
Okay. Yeah, so
Jen, you think our odds are better. Yeah.
Yeah, so Tazik would tee this up as, I'm bringing a crew, I happen to be in the area, want to see the status on my stuff, let's talk about future work, lays it out, and we're gonna go with the happy sad die.
Joyous.
Yes! This will never happen to me again.
Oh,
I don't like that face. Don't like that face.
The face is the angriest face.
Oh no! Oh no!
We wanted the most joyful face. I wanted you to tee that up and give us.
Oh no!
So you send the email. You get a reply. It is not from Dr. Song.
Oh no!
Dr. Song is no longer with the company.
Well, that's unfortunate.
As Dr. Song met with an unfortunate accident just recently. We wish you all the best in your future endeavors.
Wait, they're not even going to keep the door open to be able to consult with me in the future? Writing them off. That's it. Is this con still open? Because I'm absolutely sure that Tazik would be like, you don't want to work with me again? I did all of that work for. They better make sure that I have my name is on all of those patents because I'm gonna. It's just like completely derailed from the purpose. Okay, well, I'm gonna assume I don't have any other options there on the consulting front.
Does this mean we're down to plan B, which is Tazik trying to flirt our way in?
Please.
As my species does not have genders, I do not understand flirting in case, but I'm sure Tazik will be fantastic at it.
And Tazik's just
I
like,
don't-
you all hear like the deepest, heaviest sigh over the. I also really appreciate that we're doing all this over like the all open comms of the ship. The deepest, heaviest sigh. Like, I didn't stay on the homeworld specifically to avoid this. Scrolls back up and starts looking at the variety of unread messages. Like, all right.
You have so many.
Do I have a sort option on here that will allow me to somehow get rid of any of like anybody who's not actually going to be useful? Can we have like the head of research, the CEO of a company, like
If you want to, you can give your enhanced VI Argos this task.
well, that's going to go terrible. We're absolutely doing that.
Tazik just automating searching through her Hinge notifications.
Why is it pictures? Why is it just pictures of a plant?
It's just all right. Is
I have rolled a happy sad die for this due to things that happened on the previous episode. I have news. It is incredibly well sorted. However, Norbert, the ship's VI, was called in by Argos to help with this task to make it go faster. So the ship's database now has the contents of all of your suitors.
So
I mean, hopefully.
can I add
I'll
something
get
to
like a
this?
ping.
Can I add something to this? Because I think this would make sense from both Argos, Norbert, and just general Solarian understanding of things. They sorted them, and then Norbert, being helpful, was like, oh, the base things that most Solarians look for in mating is all about genetics. Let me send this to the doctor for the primal best genetic pairing. And the doctor's sitting there going, what?
Yeah, if that was the angriest face, then yes.
Okay,
This
fair.
is just the saddest face.
Okay, that's
Oh,
fair.
wow.
So
We're gonna sort it by something ridiculous.
no. Norbert's been programmed by humans to be exceptionally helpful in all tasks.
Oh
So-
no.
He's going to sort them by the ones that seem the most desperate.
I mean, okay, actually, this fits our needs, even
Yeah.
as I'm dying.
This
of
works,
And
the
look,
yeah.
most
anxiety.
helpful.
Listen. As humans go, you know what? They're all about desperation. So it makes perfect sense to me.
I support this.
Yeah.
So, with the record of 536 unread messages,
Ooh.
is the corporate secretary for Alanis Risk Control is number one. Followed at 312. Notice the drop off. A corporate salesman for Binary Helix, 297, it comes in with a executive weapons procurement for Rosenkov. And then at 102 is the CEO for, well, no, COO of Exogenes corporate ventures on Novaria. So there you go. There is your list of suitors.
Okay, first off, would Argos have told me that, like, when this was delivered, that you had sourced some help from the ship?
No, he just went out and asked a friend. And that friendship right now is private.
I feel like this is escalated from just Norbert and Carl, that Argos is now involved. But okay, not questioning it. This is all very acceptable in Tazik's mind. Okay, great. Tazik's gonna be like, y'all, the number one choice that would probably be most effective for this mission is not who I wanted to message. So are we sure that this is... Tazik just supposed to be 100% sure that this is the route we want to take before considering other options?
I assume that depends. How confident are you in speaking with this individual that we can get what we need?
They're at the company we need to investigate.
That seems perfect. I see no possible reason why you would not want to do this.
Hey, I'm open to other options, but we ain't been hearing it. If anyone's got a better idea.
I have none.
All right, I think Tazik's now just consigned to this path forward.
Well, further clarification I would like to request. You say that they are at that company. Are they in a position of authority at that company that can get us in the door, or are they just like a sales rep? And which
they're a corporate secretary, so I think
Yes.
they will at least get us in the door. I don't know how much further they'll get us than that. I have not been to Novaria and visited this particular company.
Although, honestly, being at the door might just be enough. We can use our various skills in persuasion to go ahead beyond that. This one believes that we can use our words and persuade individuals to help us in our mission.
I love your optimism.
And if that doesn't work, I can always pick a lock.
That is also true.
It's like, okay, Argos, can you summarize into a few succinct points the many messages from this individual so that I may draft a response?
Processing now. Processing
What we-
time, 5 minutes.
What we need to do is send messages to all of those top three. And then we need to have Tazik arrange dates with all three of them. And the rest of us need to help Tazik get around without any of the others realizing that they're all on dates at the same time.
We're just gonna start.
We're just going to turn this into a sitcom. That's how this is going.
Listen,
now.
we're gonna turn this to Solarian Bachelorette. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be fantastic.
After the 5 minutes is up, summary complete. A thorough search was done based upon time of last message. He is still looking for a partner.
That's all it got.
Because it's like, okay, we're gonna have to work on your programming for these sorts of. You know what? No, actually, I did not originally program you for this. It is like sitting now has like opened a new note on their Omni tool. Like, okay, to start using Carl and Argos as effective assistants for additional tasks beyond just. It is like making notes to the side about improving this.
Would you like me to open a new subroutine?
I don't know how much I trust this now. Like, we'll come back to that, Argos, because I don't know what parameters I want to give you yet. It seems like the needs I have for you are expanding now that we're on this ship and I have to interact with other people, and it's not going quite how I thought it would. So, in the interim, please draft a message back to this individual, letting them know that I will be. Crap, what's a Tazik? Tazik. I will be visiting because I am looking to discuss potentially new consultation with other businesses and would like to finally meet in person, potentially get a tour of their facilities and understand what this particular individual has to offer me as a life partner.
Oh, it's not for life. The Solarian mating conventions are incredibly corporate, ruthless, cut and dry, and are about the 2 years of personal inconvenience towards the mother.
Okay. How likely is the phrase life partner to get them to respond, storyteller, to respond, but maybe not have be as likely? Tazik's hedging their bets here, okay? Like, can I get the response that moves the mission along while also not getting myself into a position I don't want to be in?
Certainly. That definitely is if you want to deliberately throw up a red flag, that is one.
Damn it, not that kind of red flag right now. Okay, fine. It's like, okay, draft an appropriate response that I am visiting and am open to discussing potential negotiations.
Okay.
And we'll have some bodyguards with me. An entourage. What's an appropriate way to say, like, I'm not just showing up on my own?
Oh, wait, I have
bodyguards were good, considering your implied status within Solarian society.
Okay.
I have another thing. Are you doing this, talking this out, or is it still a public conversation talking out what you had put on this answer?
Oh, that's a good question. Tazik would have just absolutely forgotten that the comms were open and just would have kept going. So everyone would have heard the, like, all of this, asking Argos to like sort, then getting the response, then asking Argos to like summarize.
This one finds this fascinating.
So in this case, Dr. Sewell would respond with, you could also just add a line about you will also be accompanied by your personal physician to ensure that all possible genetic capabilities are within acceptable parameters. Which would give you another out if he doesn't meet the genetic requirements.
Tazik's gonna hear this and be like, yes, Argos, add that in. And then Dr. Sewell, we're gonna discuss the most impractical, unlikely, and it just like starts making this like ridiculous list of all the ways in which we're gonna make sure this does not.
I will ensure that this individual fails all genetic testing required.
Mm-hmm.
All right, send the message.
Throughout this entire exchange in his quarters, Bars has been doubled over laughing.
This one asks, is this usual for most humanoid mating rituals? This seems a lot.
There's a little like pop-up on your console from Norbert that goes into Solarian mating rituals, a history. Would you like to know more?
And you there's in the bridge is just a Kryn just scrolling with a tentacle like, oh, and that's him reading, just them reading, just reading the entire thing. Like, Kryn now has an interest in Solarian mating practices because why not?
After this, we have seen how far you've been reading. Would you be interested in a Solarian drama?
Click yes. An hour later, it's like, Senriak, they don't love you. Why would you do this? The version of like Hanar tears as they're watching this drama of Solarians of our lives.
And I think
yeah.
if this question was asked back over the open comm, Tazek would have been like, some of us avoid this intentionally. It's just like ranting in the background about societal expectations and wanting to just make armor.
But Tazek, what about love? When Sorak was not in love with Zeraria, there was a crushing moment. And basically just like the Hanar trying to convince you that love is important.
Starts hearing this and just hits the button that takes like ends the comm. Like hangs up.
So you send the message. You get a response in a half an hour.
Oh.
Is this
It
dude
is-
checking his personal emails during work?
Oh, most certainly.
Must have like a flag special notification if I ever respond.
It is exceptionally well typed, well formatted, and also comes with an attachment that has his full family's genetic legacy going back 17 generations.
Oh. This dude is prepared.
Dude's ready. Okay, and you know what Taz's gonna do? Doesn't even read it. Just like hits forward, sends it to Dr. Soul with a note that says, make sure he fails, and a whole lot of exclamation points and like
Understood.
Did he yes to my request? To
But
meet?
he has put forward an entire thing for you and your group, a proper itinerary, has pre-filled so that all you have to do is get each individual's signature to get everything cleared, and as an added bonus, being able to put in 2 crates worth of materials should you want to sneak them onto Novaria.
Damn, this guy is down bad.
Would have, after forwarding the like, please ensure this that we find nothing that works here between us, give me a valid excuse to back out of this, would have come back on the cons and been like, I have us a way in.
Fantastic.
And then like a very long spiel of like, this is how much space we're allowed, 2 crates, that's it. So that means, unfortunately, Buttercup could not come with us. And like a really long list of like, here's what you all have to figure out to make sure that whatever you need for whatever we're about to do is going to work. And ask the doctor to kindly put everybody's appropriate credentials in. Since I'm assuming the doctor will have them so that we can wait, they have to sign? Crap, that sounds like a lot of work. Tazik's like,
would you like Carl to do this?
I think what would happen is Tazik would task Carl with getting to go get everybody's signature. Not that Carl has to sign it. Like, Carl, I am tasking you with ensuring that everybody has given the appropriate information necessary for us to send this back and get us all through security, based on the documentation provided. And I'm going to check in with the doctor.
Fantastic. I'm glad everything worked. This one is glad everything worked out. Also, do we all have to ensure that your future mate is not the evil twin?
As Carl starts flying through,
Tazek just hangs up.
and the recon drone will gently rap at people's doors and just with a hollow projector just have a thumbprint sort of impression signature to sign off on the documentation.
Crin signs it.
Remind me, what does Carl look like? What's Carl's construction?
Carl is a physical recon drone. Recon drones are about the size of between the size of a large human head and a small toddler. They have a wide visor, and then underneath them they have a light rifle for offensive capabilities.
So so essentially it's kind of a large flying disc.
A little more like if you took a triangle, stretched it out a little bit, and then attached a gun to it. Yes.
So reasonably similar enough to a frisbee that Buttercup would absolutely be very, very intrigued by the sight of Carl, which Bars will not let Buttercup try to snatch Carl out of the air, but Buttercup clearly wants to. Gives the thumbprint and moves on, but that is something that Buttercup now has seen and really, really wants to try and catch.
Does Etzley sign?
Yeah.
And then finally, Carl makes his way over to the doctor.
And the doctor is going through this medical history fully.
Oh, go ahead and give me a medicine check. Let's see how well you do.
I mean, I can do this, theoretically. But I double nat
Double
one that.
one!
Oh my
I
god.
double nat one that.
I have to roll this now.
You do.
Congrats,
That's
Tezek,
fair.
you're getting married.
No, I will find a way around this. It's okay.
Oh no, this is gonna be the suitor that I'm running away from the entire time of our missions. It's just gonna be following and showing up at random planets.
The child you have together will be the future matriarch of the entire Solarian Empire.
I would like to point out that I have a +6 in this, and I double nat one.
Wow, that is wow.
Yes. This is epic. And the dice agree.
Oh no.
So, Doc, I'm going to give you an ethical conundrum.
Yes.
Because their genetics are a perfect fit.
Yes.
Absolutely perfect. The children would be not just healthy, but exceptionally so. Even long-lived amongst Solarians, considering that most of them perish around 40 to 50. These would probably live to 70.
Oh wow.
Yeah. No, like we're not quite in the territory of Uberman, but we're getting close to that with some Solarian genetics.
So she is going to keep that in the back of her mind, that they're a perfect genetic match. However, genetics are not the only medical requirement for which a healthy reproduction is important, because, side note, she's a Drell. Drell are very family-oriented and have large, massive families, and believe in stable parenting units and how the mental effects on all of these things can be a thing. She goes, okay, well, he's genetically capable. He has to pass the psyche evaluation first. And, like, begins drafting a psyche evaluation. Like...
Go ahead, give me another medicine check, but at disadvantage.
I accept that. I accept that. It's a 12. That's
This
much more
is a little bit above average psyche val.
It's like, okay. And then she'll like message Tazik and be like, I'll require specific interview with the subject in person to facilitate the desires that you wish.
And Tazik is like, perfect. We will make sure. When I send back accepting with everybody's information, once Carl gets it to me, I'll make a note that we need to ensure the entire itinerary includes an opportunity for you to directly interview per my personal physician.
And just as you're done saying that, Carl comes in.
Hello, Carl. Thank you.
And so I now have a question for Kryn. Now that things seem to be going well, how quickly are you trying to make this journey to Novaria?
Considering we're not on fire, there's no one attacking us, and there was no like timetable on this particular mission, right?
No.
I would go like, if it's possible, like, not hurry, just like average speed. Like we'll get there eventually.
Okay. So from where you guys are, that would be a 5-day journey if you're not making all haste.
All right, 5 days.
Yes. So I want each of you to think of what you're doing in this 5-day break aboard this vessel with all these Loki mechs and each other. And on that note, folks, it is time to go to the concessionary as we are going to go on a little break so we can top up our beverages, do what we must do. And then we're going to come back and see what the gang's up to for 5 days in transit.
Perfect.
Take care, everybody. See you soon.
And if you hang out for the first couple of minutes, the wonderfully fabulous Hawkeye has sent us a gift that I could not plan this better. Like this what Hawkeye sent me was entirely unplanned and based on events. It's just 100% appropriate, and you will understand in a minute, everybody.
All right, let's watch.
Easy, fraught with risk and violence everywhere. One needs to always be prepared. Equipment is always in need of upgrading. Most logical to have best hardware and software on hand. I'm Marab. Come see me at Serranus Applications. We have the best options for you here. Not logical go anywhere else. Save credits and save your life. Come to Serranus Applications. I am the very model of Silurian entrepreneur. I have items to protect you from the things that can or will occur. But for all your many needs, from mundane up to critical, you'll never find a better place anywhere in the Citadel.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store in the Citadel.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. And
Woohoo.
there's our GM.
Hey, everybody. I hope that you are refreshed as we are. And now we're going to see on this not quite slow boat to Novaria, we have 5 days with his crew before they get to their destination. And a romance of errors ensues. So, let's go around and get an idea of what folks are up to and any sort of like checks or whatnot you want to do with this glorious downtime. So first, Doc, what you up to?
After the doc has completed rearranging the medical facilities to her specifications and setting up the room off the medical facilities to be the ideal environment for humidity and heat, because it's better to keep that contained to one space to not cause problems for everyone else. She acknowledges and, appreciates. She's been going through, like, the actual medical information she has on file for the other crew members, kind of to try and put in a way to be like, what things do I need to pay attention to in the field if there's any medical requirements, and also, just kind of like going through as you do with like a medic in your first shakedown cruise, kind of checking all of the boxes. Also, being strategic so that no one ever actually sees her. Well, she's given, but probably by this point, she's given like 2 or 3 vials to bars, but also like made sure that there were like little snacks for Buttercup at various points in around the ship, but nobody's ever actually seen her do it, except probably Norbert, because the eye.
Norbert sees all.
Yeah.
All right. That sounds absolutely delightful. Well, what is Tazik doing during these 5 days?
Mourning her life in every way that matters. No, I'm just kidding. Tazik would probably have used this time to begin trying to do some light upgrades to the programming and on Argos to expand its skill set to be more effective in these additional layers of interaction with other individuals, as well as attempting, well, GM, tell me how well it goes, to also touch up Carl's programming, considering the snafu from when Carl first got on to the ship. So, like, touch-ups to those programming, and in between touch-ups armoring wise to them as well.
Okay, go ahead for the software. Because you're on the ship, you have access to all of the ship's goodies. You'll be making both these checks at advantage.
Okay.
So first, an electronics check. Okay, those upgrades are taking you some time.
Yeah.
And then an engineering check.
Please go better.
Those are taking a significant amount of time. It
I want you
seems
to
you're
know-
distracted.
Yeah, I wonder why. Also, I have a +6 on both of those, so I rolled badly. But yes, so to your point, Tazik's like, oh no, like I never want to, like, I haven't wanted to deal with this aspect of Solarian society. There's an entire reason that I left the home world and got into, decided to do armoring and fought, the whole, they were so prepared. They got back to me in a half hour. Like, very clearly in the Solarian version of stressing out about this while trying to do other work, and probably drinking too much coffee in the
Yeah.
Panicking. Like, just how does a Solarian panic like this? This is how a Solarian panics, everyone.
The pitch and frequency of your verbiage has gotten even faster. So let's check in with someone on the opposite end of the spectrum. Bars, what are you up to while on these 5 days?
So now that we're actually in flight, Bars is spending most of the time in the engine room, observing the engines, how they work, seeing them in action, and looking for any potential low-hanging fruit insofar as improvements he can make to them in future.
Okay, go ahead and give me an engineering test at advantage.
Nat 20.
Ooh.
Making up for all the other rolls tonight.
Again,
You're welcome.
You were in your element, and the first thing that you can see with this drive is, if this was properly tuned, this ship would be significantly faster. Like, she could do with a few streamlining improvements with her output, as well as the tolerances that everything is programmed to are beyond the safe zone. Like, whoever was engineering this wanted it to be idiot proof. And so it is not putting out the power that she actually possesses.
Then yeah, short term, he's as we're in flight, he'll adjust those up to a more reasonable level, but we'll mostly save any notes for when we are docked again for any actual significant mechanical improvements, obviously. But yeah, the software side of things, he'll be making some adjustments and bumping that up to get the performance to where he believes it should be.
Excellent.
And outside of that, in any time that it's kind of more evenings, if she's around, having noted the reaction to one of those briefings, if there's any time spent in the rec room, whilst he's not going to pry, Bars will try to help distract Esley with any kind of competitive game that exists in the rec room, be it like pool or there's whatever we have in there.
There is many amusements and distractions there. You have a pool table, you have an air hockey table, you have a claw machine, you have a dartboard. And the wall that the dartboard has been hanged on, both the dartboard and that wall have been reinforced.
So I'll leave it up to Esley how much advantage they take care of that, but he will have the offer out there should they wish to.
You also have a small dance floor in there on top of the bar. So Esley, what are you up to during these 5 days?
Esley is spending the majority of these 5 days, what would be day and night, 24 hours, I guess, and pretty much in the weapons room, weapons area, fine-tuning the ship's weapons, and whatever time's not spent on calibration there is spent on Bars's shotgun or weapon that was broken, and taking the data off the mod and seeing how it performed, and also what time is not spent between those two things is spent I wouldn't say frantically is the correct word, maybe angrily sending off emails to anyone and everyone she has ever given the mod to, seeing asking, like the typical routine questions she would ask, but also like some extra ones of just like, for any extra like information on performance, what kind of enemies have you been using these mods against, blah 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 blah. And then just like the typical reminder of tampering's not allowed, and things like that, as she is trying to figure out who the motherfucker was that either sold my mods to some fucking cult or had started a cult and has started using these mods to make their own mods.
Everyone gets back to you within the 5 days, with the exception of one. Froggy does not answer.
Froggy, man. Okay. I'm gonna send a follow-up message to the rest of the squad just to see if they've heard from Froggy recently. Trying not to assume the worst at first, but
Ulysses has been out of touch with most folks. He's been working with a alliance-based PMC called Cat 6, which has kept him very busy. Yasmin was definitely the last one to speak with Froggy, but like she lost contact with him 6 months ago. He wasn't in a good spot. She tried to get him to go to a clinic, considering that he was having gaps in time.
I'm gonna put out some feelers out there, send some messages to some people and see if anyone's heard from Froggy in the last 6 months. And I'm gonna continue on working on Barz's weapon. Is what I'm gonna spend the majority of the time on.
Go ahead, and because you're on the ship, give me an engineering test at advantage.
Engineering at advantage. Okay. Where's that little button? There it is.
15.
15.
You have disassembled the weapon. You have retrieved the mod, and you're running through scans, tolerances, and tests on it, and have been able to machine parts to, in the meantime, fully repair the weapon. Barz, what was this, a rifle or a shotgun? Cannot hear you.
Sorry, there we go. Given the nature of the mod, I don't recall exactly which one it was, but it was definitely a rifle one, so it would have been on his Cyclone.
Okay, well, the Cyclone is, all intents and purposes, fixed. It's just without that particular mod. But no, it is fully functional.
Excellent.
And probably the only time Barz sees Esley over these past 5 days, barring actually going and seeing her, is when she comes out with your Cyclone to the firing range and is testing it out to make sure everything's good.
Well, yeah, he's not going to pry during that. Keep the conversation focused on the rifle. That's
And Kryn, what are you up to during these 5 days?
Well, first off, the primary thing is optimizing the various programs and controls for the ship. I want to make sure whatever I do on the ship is not basically countermanded by any programming that's installed previously, to make sure it's as fast and quick as possible. That's my primary thing I'm doing right now.
Okay, go ahead, but because you're kind of fighting the vessel, give me an electronics check, just straight up.
Okay, electronics. Gotcha. 1 second. Electronic. That is bad, but we'll see. That is a 5.
That is bad. Yeah, there is a number of like deep programming that is resistant to change. Somebody in the overhaul tried to idiot proof the safety measures on this vessel. It is the code is distributed throughout multiple systems.
Why would they do this? This is not optimized at all.
Oh no, it isn't. And some of the code is even buried in Norbert's code.
Oh, it doesn't take forever. So that's the primary thing I'm trying to do, and utterly failing, as this role showed. But I'm trying my best to make it like the ship better at what it should be, which is fast-ish.
Okay, go ahead and give me a vehicle handling test, but this time at advantage.
A vehicle handling. What's that primary for?
Primary for Dex.
Okay. All right. Oh, I see it here. Boom. 13.
No, you have advantage with this one.
Oh, right. So it'll be 22. Nice. Yes.
Outside of peak combat, you have her running just what you want. But if you are getting into a knockdown drag-out fight, she's still a bit sluggish.
I'll figure it out eventually. Okay, so that's the primary thing I'm doing. The secondary thing I'm doing is I am watching the longest running Solarian drama that has existed on the planet, that has been going on for at least 60 years, called Over the Pond. I am on, by the end of 5 days, I'm on episode 133, where Sarath was fighting his twin brother Sarath for the love of Sinath. And honestly, I'm hoping for the best.
You have gifted me something absolutely precious, so I'm going to go off on a little rant here.
Okay.
The beauty of space is that if there is radio communications, anything transmitted, it just sort of travels. And so I'm going to establish my little bit of canon here on our show, that one of the first things that was intercepted by the Solarians of human culture was Days of Our Lives. And they have taken that original transmission of Days of Our Lives and transitioned that to the Solarian version.
Oh god.
And so it carries through that canon from human to Solarian, and it is now the longest running period drama that has been happening in space.
Love it. And the most annoying thing is, every once in a while, because I know about the situation with Tazik, every once in a while they message her with like, beep, just some advice. You should also check that your possible future mate is not a secret millionaire that is attempting to take over the government. Beep.
Tazik is gonna be forwarded like every time this happens. It's just like, Argos, make a note.
Argos makes a note, but Norbert also chimes in. Would you like to know the history of evil twins? would you like to know the history of millionaires overthrowing governments?
I think at like day 3, the doctor would seek out Tazik personally, with all of the medical requirements, because she is an ethical doctor, and be like, just gonna be like, do you have a moment?
Is very focused on whatever Tazik's doing and just kind of like startles, throws some things around, turns around, chucks probably a wrench at you, and then is like, "This is fine. Yes, yes."
Norbert,
He's let me have some more coffee, and like goes and like fills. There's like mugs everywhere.
Yes, doctor.
engage patient confidentiality protocols.
Alpha, beta, or delta?
Delta.
Delta protocols enacted.
So we have one small problem.
I was like, a problem? What kind of problem could we have? Obviously, we have all the information and we're already having to talk to this person. And I know that this was not what I wanted out of everything, but what's the problem?
That is why your desires will also be important, but your genetically speaking, your reproduction with genetics of this individual would actually produce the ideal Solarian.
Define ideal.
Extended life expectancy, improved cognitive function, possibility of reproduction, the next step in Solarian evolution. Increased life expectancy by an average of 20 to 25 years.
That's wild.
That's like, this is why I have to tell you this.
And Tasso could be a little jittery. It's like the Tom and Jerry gif of where Tom's just like shaking the whole time with coffee spilling out. It's basically that right now, being like, Argos, make a note. You should keep track of this. And is like thinking through like, okay, well, I'm not looking for this at this time, but maybe this is something we consider in the future, even though I've never wanted this in my life plan. And then it's just like completely derailed, but essentially, I guess, accepts it in the context of this is a fact that I know.
Yeah, like
You know?
that's and I think the doctor then would take the time to say, again, I am your physician. Whatever you choose is what will happen, because I am your physician. However, I needed to make sure you were aware of all of the facts, as I am your physician.
Okay, and Taz would be like, well, I appreciate. Please hold, and goes and like the cup is like half empty now, and is like pouring more coffee into it. Before coming back, be like, I appreciate everything that you've told me. I am going to keep this in mind. We will see how this goes, but I still am not looking for any type of commitment. It is a long period of time in which I would not be able to be working on armor or doing any other things to do this at this time. But this is a note that I should consider. I forget how old I made Tazik, so Tazik's like, I got time still. I'm not dying yet.
So at this point, your mental well-being is an important factor, and therefore your desires outweigh certain genetic requirements. I will ensure that this is something that occurs, and therefore your choices are paramount. However, I do have one question. As she's like sitting there watching you actively shake. While I don't intervene in most choices that individuals choose to engage with, and she'll like just reach out and like put her fingers at your wrist and be like, I need to make sure your shaking is because of the caffeine and not because of a anxiety-induced cardiac arrhythmia. And if it's the former, well, perhaps we consider I give you information about the limitations of caffeine on the Solarian bloodstream, and if it's the latter, we have more important things to consider.
Go ahead and give me a medicine check, Doc.
Okay. Let's see how this goes. An 8. Wow. And I have a +6 in that.
Yes. I'm going to say, due to both the uncontrolled movements of Tazek, and you're not unfamiliar with Solarian physiology, but you haven't worked on many of them, probably let alone a female Solarian, considering that the distribution is 90% to 10% within that culture. Yeah, you don't have a good read. But Norbert will chime in. External vitals are just within healthy parameters.
Thank you, Norbert.
You're welcome, Doctor.
Again, all I needed to be verified. And again, if you have any further questions, concerns, or just wish to express a desire for this individual to meet an untimely end and we just harvest his genetic coding, all of those are viable.
I feel like Tazek would have taken the questions about the coffee versus other anxiety things to be like, well, I went to, I assume at some point, probably would have passed through an area that was primarily humans and had acquired in that process caffeine.
If you went to Omega, coffee is a thing.
It just would have been like, oh, well, I ordered something, somebody gave this to me. I needed a slight stimulant, and then this worked out, but I wasn't quite sure. I'm not sure how this interacts with Solarian physiology because it's a human that gave it to me, but it's been working so well for me. I do have to clean up all of my code and do some minor repairs after everything when I'm on, but after I wake back up, it's fine.
Makes a mental note. This is a concern.
Also, thank you for I've never had somebody offer to kill somebody else for me before, but I appreciate the thought, and we'll put a pin in that in case we need to come back to it, because I'm not quite sure how this is going to turn out, but it could go either way.
Actually, as you're there talking, there's another message from Kryn. Just want to ensure that if you do have a child with this individual, it is not an evil child that will kill you for your empire. Beep.
Argos, do not make a note of that.
But Norbert goes, would you like to know about the overthrowing of empires?
And then there's this moment of where Uthura just sighs and goes, Kryn is watching dramas again, aren't they?
They messaged me every other hour with updates from their current watch time.
Kryn has so far viewed 8 seasons so far, whilst we have been in flight, Doctor.
Cutscene 2.
Norbert, average official watch time in hours?
Processing. As I'm actually going to do math here.
365.
We would never.
365 times 52 times
No.
5.
It's 26. So times 8 times 30 divide by 60. 104 hours.
I'm available if you have any further questions. Norbert disengaged patient privacy calls, and she strides towards the bridge.
Tazek's just like, I guess I'm okay with coffee. And
I'll get back to you on that one. But she's not gonna stop you from having it until she knows that it is actually harmful to you.
Tazek doesn't know. Somebody had a really great binge writing code and doing some armor upgrades with only minor things that needed to be repaired afterwards.
Coffee. We have these on hand. would you be interested in
Yeah. No, but then she's striding to the bridge.
recommendations? It has a list of coffee readouts from Norbert to Tazik, though not advised is put next to certain Cuban varieties and espresso.
I feel like Norbert would have done the like gradually moving from darker to lighter roasts until eventually it's like,
No, as someone who drinks a lot of caffeine, the lighter the roast, the more the caffeine.
oh yeah,
So
no,
it
no.
is
Because Tazik was asking for like, oh, I need more, and so like started it not as
No,
bad and has gotten
yeah.
worse.
like it's like, okay, so we've gone from light roasts, and now Norbert is recommending the darkest of roasts.
And
Meanwhile, on the bridge,
like mid-scene, Uthuro just kind of leans over and flicks her hand and uses her biotics to turn off the teledisplay.
Yeah, as you're doing that, there's a scene in the drama of like, Teriak, I must tell you, I click. No, no, they were about to announce their love. Why
Kryn,
would you do this?
Kryn,
Yes,
100
Doctor?
hours watching this close to your optical receptors is harmful to
Right
your
here.
optical receptor.
I don't. This one does not understand. This one was just trying to understand one of my crewmates through their culture and was perhaps a little engrossed, but understandable, especially because Tazik is going to mate with this particular
Tazik
other
has not
Solari-
made that choice and therefore is possibly not going to do so. Remember, choice is important when it comes to biological reproduction.
It is?
Yes.
This one is not aware. This one does not understand genders as other species do it, but if choice is important, then obviously I will not if Tazik chooses not to be part of this historical moment, then that is all right. Can this one turn the button back on?
Take a
perhaps?
walk.
This one floats.
Kryn,
Yes.
do something other than watch this. Perhaps engage in Taurian opera, listening to it.
Taurian opera. This one has never tried Taurian opera. This
we
one
have
will.
many selections.
This one will try Taurian opera. Click.
We- No. Norbert suggests that for the best experience, please go to the rec room. We have a surround sound system.
This one will go to the rec room and experience Taurian opera.
And there's just
And
you
Yeah.
first.
No, I was just gonna say, sorry. Crane floats over to the rec room. Go ahead.
And then the doctor sighs and turns to Norbert. Norbert, update protocols. If Kryn engages in any activity other than sleep, eat, or fly a ship for longer than 35 hours, please contact me.
Updating now.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in danger of permanently harming themselves through their own behaviors on this ship?
Aside from yourself, no.
I'm already permanently harmed. My behaviors have no effect on that. Thank you, Norbert, for your concern, however. And she will leave and just walk back into her med lab.
And officially, Turian opera is just 3 degrees removed from Klingon opera. I am now thinking about what the Tyrian equivalent of Carmen is. But yes, there was something that got pressed earlier. I'm very curious about. PB, a Viper was tested.
I'm putting in my attacks and I pressed the wrong button.
Okay. I just wanted to know if that was an actual weapons test, in which case I had to do something.
No, I forgot you have to press the cog to open the thing.
That is fair. And yes, right now, officially, the most well-adjusted people are Etsley and Bars. Just have that.
I would like
noted.
to ask a question. What has the doctor done that shows that they are ill-adjusted?
Fair.
Needs to work on bedside manner slightly.
I mean, you know, the kind of implied endorsement of eugenics was a little.
It's not, but that's the thing is, like, it's not. She can't make that choice for Tazik. She needs to give Tazik all of the information because she does also know that Solarians do make those kind of choices. So, no, she has no bedside manner. Remember, she has a -1 to charisma. What bedside manner?
This is just the most charismatic group.
No, I will say I have a charisma, persuasion, and intimidation of +4, which shows I'm just emotionally invested in these operas, in these soap operas. Just that's why I feel it so deeply.
Norbert is going to start cultivating like your own personal like Netflix queue of media.
Yep, that's about right. That's about right.
My question here is, would Kryn be watching these in different parts of the ship so like everyone else would happen to walk by and
yes.
see like Bars going past and seeing a Hanar watching a Solarian soap opera?
Wait until Kryn discovers like I'm Krogan action films. This is something that has to happen.
Oh no, Krogan action films put Fast and the Furious to shame. 100%. Like they go through space in like on a fucking bike. It doesn't make sense, but honestly, it is awesome to watch.
Also, I need Krogan Highlander. That's just something. But yes, like that all of this is going on, and then finally, we hear over the comms. This is Noveria Control. Please proceed to Nos Astra Landing Dock 17. As you are brought in for landing.
Beep. We are heading there immediately. Thank you for messaging us. Beep. And yep.
Yeah, you guys glide on in. Now, you have count them, 2 crates to hide all of your miscellaneous goodies. I don't need.
Does that include our? I was just going to ask if it included our armor, but I think you were just going to answer that. Sorry.
Does not include your armor. Armor is perfectly allowed on the station.
Mm-hmm.
It's the things that go boom that they're the most concerned with.
Yeah, I have a pistol, but I'm not going to bring it because I have the power of my biotics and I don't necessarily need it. So I'm going to leave space for everybody else to put their stuff in.
So yeah, no, you have 2 crates to fit all of your weapons, plus whatever sundry chems you might want to use, or demolitions gear. But you have 2 crates. I'll get that list for you for next time, because we're not going to necessarily have combat this evening. But that is most definitely an option next time we meet.
Would Tazik be able to? Would Argos be considered like because it's an armor be allowed to be considered also a bodyguard and not count into our allocation?
Technically, because of how you've built Argos and what would show up in the scans is its primary function as a labor mech. So that is perfectly fine.
Score. Okay. Tazek,
Carl, on the other hand, they're going to ask you to leave Carl behind.
Gosh darn it, Carl's the recon drone. Okay, Carl will depend on how much space, because I think Tazek would be comfortable slipping things like the hacking tools and other stuff into like little recesses within Argos, and Carl would be safe depending on what the others want to store. If there's enough space, great. If not, ensuring Etzli and Bars and others have their equipment is much more important.
Certainly. So you are all going through Noveria security. You all get full-on facial scans and immediate background checks. Is there anything particularly eye-opening or questionable in those background checks? Let's start with Kren.
Questionable. That is a word you could use. As far as I know, we were not mercenaries, but we did certain jobs. So it's up to you, Pope, our storyteller. Would any of the jobs I have done would be considered, at least for this particular corporation, problematic?
I see your question and raise your question.
Okay.
The morality here on this planet is different than most.
Okay.
Have you done anything particularly important for a specific government or governments, or any like investigative or charity work, things that would try and bring those that skirt the law to justice?
Honestly, yes, we tend to be morally righteous in some of our stuff we do.
Okay, we will get back to you in a moment.
Perfect.
Etzli.
Nothing has changed since the last time I came here that they would find relevant.
Objectionable.
Yeah.
You are welcome to Noveria. Bars.
So point of order two, prior to leaving the ship, Bars does the little head nuzz to Buttercup and leaves her in the room, because Buttercup does not come on any mission that could be even remotely dangerous. She stays where she is safe. But no, nothing that they would necessarily flag as questionable. He likes to fly under the radar in that type of situation, doesn't take big high-profile jobs. If anything, the phrase collateral damage probably comes up a lot, but nothing that to this particular society would flag him as
they take just a little more time with you on the scanner, just making sure everything's clear, and then welcome to Noveria. Tazek, anything in your particular history?
I think Tazek's, the only thing that might register here is just having consulted with some other businesses on Noveria, assumingly. But I don't know if that would be like a red flag, considering that I'm not here for work.
They usher you through, as well as Argos, and whereas like with everyone else so far, it's been just the flat security welcome to Noveria. They seem to take a little bit more of a pause. Welcome to Noveria. A representative from Alliance Risk Control is already set to meet you once you are passed through the elevator and through the concourse.
Thank you.
Dr. Sewell, anything questionable in your history?
Depends on how accurate they can get into certain government access.
Mhm.
Ooh, I get to make a roll.
Oh no.
Because most of her public work is as a charity doctor and a no questions asked doctor for certain other individuals.
Mhm.
They cannot get that high of a clearance.
Then they are not going to find out anything else she may have done.
Mhm.
Welcome to Novaria.
Hmm.
Crit.
Oh boy.
They scan you multiple times. They like Doc, you can tell they're doing a full-on biometric scan. They are pulling all information that they can. And once they are done, it is not subtle, and that there is. We hope you enjoy your time here on Novaria. Please be certain to conduct your business in a timely manner.
This one will be assured, and he floats closer, that it will not. This one will not interfere with any business, as long as that business does not interfere with me.
And so, y'all are let on through, and you get on one of Mass Effect's many long-suffering and slow-moving elevators. The confinement of Commander Shepard continues on indefinitely as the news cycles through. The Alanis Risk Control wishes to reassure investors that the recent incident is a fluke at best, and they are doing everything that they can to bring those that have besmirched the company to justice. As you guys come out of the elevator, welcome to Novaria. It is that glorious corporate brutalist architecture of the near future. Many a fake potted plant dots the concourse. Lots and lots of concrete and glass. Though you do all notice that there seems to be heightened security in that even along the concourse, there are Alanis Risk Control security officers in heavy armor. Each one of them clearly armed with an Avenger. So, as well as some form of personal sidearm. And they are paying you just that level of mind that lets you know that if you try anything, they will do everything in their power to stop you. And then you get through the concourse, and go ahead, Doc.
So the doctor is now working, which means that she is actively scanning the entire and memorizing with her eidetic memory the patrol sequence and regulation for all the security and all the security points. And
this is for corporate security. You can tell that they have they have brought in professionals. Like this is less corporate security, and we're now getting to like ex-military sort of grade of secure detail, as there are very few gaps. And as you look around, like you, there's the surveillance cameras that you are meant to see, and the surveillance cams you are not meant to see. Again, you are all professionals. This is something that you all can observe. And then you get through the main concourse, and it opens up into a large atrium. And surprisingly enough, it is not our desperate suitor that is there to meet you. Instead, it is a odd duo, an odd couple, as it were, there to meet you, one holding a sign with your full name written in fine calligraphy, Tazik. And then at the end, party, welcome. Being held by a Volus in immaculate and elaborate armor. Primarily black with gold inlay. This is somebody who is wearing their wealth. And then next to our delightful round friend is a very tall, lanky Asari. Full on corporate business wear. And unlike most of the other quote unquote civilians here, is clearly armed with a Carnifex pistol at her side. And this odd couple is there to greet you. Welcome, all of you, to Noveria. And on behalf of Alliance Risk Control, myself and my security compatriot would like to welcome you and show you to your current accommodations.
And Tazik will slightly nervously be like, thank you. We look forward to seeing what you have for us.
Excellent. We'll make certain that your crates get through customs in due time. Please follow us right this way. And you are being fast-tracked through what is essentially the port. Like, they are taking you to some place outside of the port, off-site. As you get into a heavy transport. This is something akin to if the Mako were made by corporate interests and were supposed to actually hold people comfortably, is the equivalent. There's even a drinks bar. The Asari is clearly the driver, as the Volus holds the door open for all of you and then closes it behind as he sits inside. So, it'll be about half an hour before we get to the facility. Please excuse our dust. There's a great deal of remodeling being
This one understands and is willing to wait patiently till we reach there.
Uh, Excellent. Please feel free to use any of the freshmen on board. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
This one wonders. Oh, out of character. So this guy works for the company that's having the problem, right?
Yes.
Okay. This one wonders. This one knows that, and if you are uncomfortable with answering this question, understand that you had issues with missing weaponry.
There was a break-in. It is currently being internally investigated, as well as the corporate council has their own investigators looking into the incident. But rest assured, security has been tripled.
This one wonders, and this one would definitely want to not imply that that you are incapable of such circumstances, but this one would hope that if aid is necessary, this one and its compatriots would be willing to aid in this search for missing weaponry.
That is above my pay grade.
Understood. Is this one wonders, is there anyone we could speak of that is of the pay grade?
I believe after the initial meeting between your client and our secretary, introductions to the local board could be made.
This one is happy to know. As soon as our employer, Tazik, and the secretary meets, then we could perhaps talk about other matters. Perfect.
And Tazik's just like, you haven't even finished the job with me yet, and you're already trying to get another one?
This one is trying to get the mission complete. By the way, this one again suggests you make sure that this part is not the evil twin.
Just starts looking at whatever drinks are in the vehicle bar. Like, I'm not talking to you about this again.
Look for the beard. Look for the beard.
Now, bars, because of your specializations, please give me either, surprisingly enough, an attack roll or an engineering check as we near the facility.
I presume this would just be an unarmed attack.
Attack with whatever your most explosive weapon is.
Cool. Let's go with this. That would be my second nat 20 of the night.
Well, this one's not at advantage, but a 23 is still freaking impressive.
Yep.
Well done.
As you're coming up and looking through one of the windows, you see the facility. And you in particular can tell that this was a hit and extraction done on foot. They had heavy weaponry to obviously crack into the facility. Just based on the scorch patterns, the trajectory of the blast, like they're still cleaning up, and it is taking them, like, they've got multiple work crews, but your keen eye can clearly see like the conflict that happened, as well as just noticing where the other scaffolding is. They came in low and they probably left high, as the scaffolding goes all the way to the top of the facility.
Looking at the way the damage has been inflicted, was it broken into from the outside, or did somebody blow out from inside?
This was broken into from the outside.
In the presence of our guide, Escort, he's not going to bring anything up outwardly, but will, as subtly as he can, just sort of elbow Esley in the side and nod over towards.
Esley, give me an engineering test. $14. As Bars is pointing things out to you, yeah, this was definitely done from the exterior, breaking in with something that was not standard. This was modified munition of some sort, given just the burn pattern. So this was a 2-stage explosive. Something that had the initial punch and then had a secondary plasma detonation. Something you only find in the highest of high-end mods.
And I'll just look over and I'll give a slight nod to Bars as I continue to look out the window.
How much time do we have left before we're there?
As you're pulling around, you probably got like maybe 10 minutes left before you pull in.
Okay. Tazik would have like not registered any of the stuff that Bars and Esley did, but would obviously see the construction happening and ask our guide, how much would this recent incident impact our itinerary that we received?
With the ones that you received, it really shouldn't impact much at all. It's just with certain sections of the facility are currently cordoned off for reconstruction. And certain facilities are not at full capability, but we're doing our best.
Okay.
Can I insight check that?
Go ahead.
Because it sounds like just corporate speak, but at the same time, there's a level of like corporate speak that might be more concerning.
There's corporate speak and then corporate spin.
Yes, exactly.
He is spinning hard. Like there is obviously like they could not have gotten things as clean as it is implied. But it's also a large facility, and he's obviously making assumptions that you're not here to inspect any of this. You are here because of bizarre Solarian mating rituals from somebody higher up the chain than him.
And I think it's one of those, like, the doctor has been just, like, actively reading through, because, like, tracking all of these things and keeping the eidetic memory up, but, like, looking like she's been actively reading through and just checking boxes on her Omni tool, and would just send a quick, like, text to the group chat, be like, he's lying out his ass. There are still holes in security. There are still problems. But, not say anything.
And you all pull into the corporate garage where you see that most of the standard, crawlers that would happen here, a few flyers, or hybrid vehicles that are parked in this garage. Many of the things that you would expect have been replaced with military grade hardware. We're talking a number of APCs where you would normally see like corporate vehicles and hybrid land / hoverers APC grade vehicles, where normally you would have like a corporate hover transport. Like there has been a swift shift in the hardware this facility is now keeping about. And then you finally come to a stop, and you guys get out. You walk through the parking garage. You pass a number of elevators that are out of service to an industrial grade elevator that has been very quickly, fairly well done, brought up to something more, at least in the interior, corporately pleasing. Nice drywall. The stainless steel has been polished up. It looks, even smells nicer. As you are going significantly up, as you find yourselves on the 21st floor of this facility, walk out and are shown to a series of executive suites, one for each of you. And as you settle in, that's where we're going to end for this evening.
Dope.
So let's go around the horn and see how everyone's feeling, and find out where you can see more of these amazing storytellers. As for me, I have been your ST Pope World Build all over the internet. If you want to see more of this silly face, you get a few opportunities. Coming up next is over on Wandering DM at 8:30 p.m. Eastern for more Montreal by Night with a certain someone else here, as we live happy underground. And then on Saturday, over on Valdrian's channel, same hat, different chair, at 3 p.m. Eastern for Mass Effect Myrmidon, where I get to be Kryn's counterpart on that frickin'. And then, by all means, please come back here, because this crew is amazing, and thank you all for being here. We're a live VOD YouTube. The story is nothing without its audience. You're much part of this as we are. So let's check in with our favorite pilot. Hey, Jesus, where can we find you?
Okay, so Kryn currently is going to his room and just soaking in the massive tub, because this is a corporate office that they want to show off to even to the bodyguards. So I'm just floating there. But hi, I'm Jesus, and you can find me at on most social media as Arvanis, except for Instagram as JA Robotic, because someone has my name. Beyond that, I'm part of a podcast called Fandible, which posts random awesome tabletop role-playing games, and the podcast is called Fandible, and also have a YouTube channel called Arvanis, where I do videos on the lore of various war games, because I'm that type of nerd. That's me in a nutshell.
Awesome. Another type of nerd, one who has been playing through a number of Mass Effect media, is PB. Hey, where can we find you, friend, and how do you feel about tonight?
Hi, I'm PB from @PBPlaysInside, in which you can find me on most social media, but I'm most active on Blue Sky and on Twitch.tv, in which, as Pope said, I am playing currently through the Mass Effect trilogy, where we're right now in Mass Effect 2, and we just did Grunt's companion quest, which means we are about halfway through all the companion quests before we have to go fight the collectors. And I am also doing GM's Grandmasters, which is the hardest content, over in Destiny 2 with my best friend Nilly. We're doing a duo challenge in what is supposed to be a trio activity. So it's a lot of fun, and that's mixed in there with Mass Effect at this very second. And for tonight, man, just some unexpected things that popped up in the story today, and I am only reeling a little bit. So I am very excited to see where that all goes, and how I'm gonna have to go with it.
Oh, yeah. Again, I love you all for giving me so many delightful knives, and I'm just starting to decide the cutlery. Someone who is good with all sorts of cutlery, cutlasses, and hobby knives would be Chris. How are you doing, and where can we find you?
Nice segue. Well done. Yeah, Chris Cornelius, aka the Painting Pirate. You can find me at twitch.tv/paintingpirate or paintingpirate.com for links to all the socials. I'll be live tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern for probably some more Final Fantasy 14 nonsense, because I'm back on that bullshit.
Woo.
And the newest set isn't out in Magic the Gathering Arena yet, so I'm not back to doing Magic Mondays yet. Then on Thursdays, All Influencer Wrestling, my ridiculous WWE 2K23 project, where all the roster are creations by the community, and there's some interesting designs there. And then Saturdays, in theory, are mini painting, but my schedule is all over the place right now because I am in the middle of packing up my entire life to move the entire way across the country. So that's my entire existence right now. And yeah, and as far as tonight, it came up earlier, I am both thrilled and terrified to be one of the few best adjusted / most competent characters on the ship, and that does not bode well for anybody except for us as players and the audience, because that's just going to be fun, and I'm very excited to see how this evolves or devolves, as the case may. It's devolve. It's going to get so much worse.
Going about someone who is definitely not causing all of the chaos, would be our favorite Solarian. How you doing, Lady Luck, and where can we find you?
Well, this is not how I expected tonight's session to go. Tazik's off to the side being like, first time that I get to do something with the crew, and this is what it is. This is what I'm contributing. But hi everyone, I'm Lady Luck 34. You can find me by that name around most of the internet, including on Twitch, Twitter, and Blue Sky. And I stream a couple of nights a week between video games and crafty nonsense, which, I don't know, I've picked up too many hobbies now. I sew, I crochet, I dice make, now I'm journaling. I might have just started another one. It's fine. It's not a problem. It's a problem. I'm excited about where this is going to go next, because the entry into this particular corporation was both a mix of like, this could go really well for us, or this could go really terribly for us. And I'm not quite sure which one it is yet. And to your point about chaos, none of this was planned, y'all. So it's fine. This is fine. We're all going to be fine.
Someone who nearly always has a plan would be our wonderful host and our even more fantastic doctor. Hey, Frax, how you doing? What are you up to?
Hey all. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to Pope for being a wonderful storyteller for tonight. Thank you to the fellow players for being here and having fun and saying yes to this shenaniganry. I still would like to point out that I don't know that the doctor is maladjusted, just not good with talking to people. That's not the same thing. But she is a Drell who is actively working off the planet, so you can make certain assumptions about her from that. And as for me, I had so much fun today. I do love the fact that none of the chaos that has happened has ever been planned, and I support that. And I also support the fact that the doctor doesn't have a plan beyond getting Tazik what they want out of this situation, which is hopefully not anything like a marriage contract. That's it. That's as much of a plan as she has right now related to that situation. Other things might have plans, but we'll find out. As for me, hi all, you know me, I'm at Deirdre Donlin on Twitter, or Praxgarth as Meaphoria, as you see me around here on Twitch. And Sunday nights we are here with our Mass Effect game, and this is episode 2. But if you missed out on the premiere and you want to catch up, hey, there's a YouTube for that. You go over, click that, and you can catch up on the VODs. All of the VODs get posted there, along with the VODs of Saturday nights, where I do book club chats, which have become a lot of fun, discussing just basically what I've been reading and what all the interesting things, and apparently encouraging people to read some very interesting indie authors. I have no complaints about any of that. You can also, like Pope said, find me tomorrow night over on Wandering DM for Vampire the Masquerade Montreal by Night, where I would like to point out that nothing that has happened is my Ravnos' fault, even though apparently we are underground looking for the entrance to a former Sabbat cathedral. And there are a bunch of people, there are a bunch of whites in the underground, and possibly a dude wearing a coat of faces. I'm sure this will all be fine. None of this is going to be a problem. Also, we will apparently have lots of fun times together, and all of the joy and pleasure that we're going to have. You can follow along, help us, support us. If you watch on YouTube, we appreciate you. Hit that like, share, subscribe button. And I thank you all. I look forward to seeing what happens next week. We're going to see if there's anybody up tonight to raid. Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. Oh, Nyx is up. We should go raid Nyx. He's playing Sea of Thieves, but we'll go raid Nyx. And send you all some joy and love, and have a good time, everybody. Oh, also shout out, thank you to Hawkeye for the wonderful ad read that occurred in the middle of this break, because that was absolutely perfect and epic. We'll see you next time, everybody. Bye-bye.